Final game of the opening round was Brazil 2, Serbia none whatsoever. Both goals for the Seleção scored by Richarlison. And joining us now from Qatar is Natalie Gedra of ESPN Brazil. Hi, Natalie.
Hello, James. Vai Brasil.
Yeah, well, exactly. Wow, you're fresh from the game, and that's very exciting. On a scale of the other favourites between, say, Argentina at one end to Spain at the other, where would you put this Brazil performance?
Well, this Brazil performance was. I'm not. I think Spain is still topping the favorites after what they did in their first match, but I think more important than the win itself, Brazil needed to play well this first match. And first matches of World Cup, they involve such nerves, and I think we saw a little bit of that in that first half because Serbia was always going to be tough. They were always going to defend deep, and they have they're very organized. Their line of five defenders, and they're good on the air, but. Brazil struggled on the first half, and second half I think the team was able to show their potential, their personality, what everybody's expecting from Brazil, the way they played, and the way they imposed themselves, and the amount of chances they created. So for Brazil, for Brazilians in general, I think it's much more than the win. There is an obligation to play a certain way, and from the start, if you play a certain way from the start, from the first match in the World Cup, this is so important because it just brings the fans together. And you could see the satisfaction with the players, the way they celebrated, and they're all so together, and they're all so aware of what they need to do and the movements they need to do because they worked on it since before Russia, even because Chichi has been with the team since 2016. So
Both goals from Richarlison. There was a lot of chat in the UK, some of it in this room, about whether Richarlison should be Brazil's centre forward. Had there been similar views expressed in Brazil, and what did you make of his performance, his response tonight?
honestly, James, I think if you asked me at the start of the season who was going to be the number 9, I was going to say Gabriel Jesus, because not only he was doing really well at Arsenal, but the coaching staff and Chichi, they all trust Gabriel really.
Mm-hmm.
They really trust him, and he's very dedicated tactically. He's very useful in different moments of the match, and but Richarlison has something. Richarlison has two things that Brazilians really appreciate. He has a true passion to be in the national team, and he doesn't hide it, and he makes it clear every time he can. The group loves him, and all the Brazilians really love Richarlison. He has this charisma and this spontaneous side in him that really wins the fans over. And I think all this passion that he has for the national team, it really shows every time he's on the pitch. So in a way, I was surprised that he picked Richarlison because I think Gabriel is more experienced in the national team. But well, Chichi was right, absolutely, because he played brilliantly. Both goals were brilliant. Second goal obviously was amazing, the volley. But the first goal, as a proper center forward, as a proper striker, the way he positioned himself among the defenders and the way he read what Vini Jr. was doing. So that was really positive for Richarlison and for Brazil's attack. And speaking about Brazil's attack, James, what I like is that Neymar wasn't brilliant, and because in a way there's still more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil can, if you have this Brazilian side playing in a night that Neymar's inspired, then you can show a lot more. They haven't showed all their cards in the first game, but they have showed some really good ones.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Vinicius Junior was really effective, wasn't he, getting in behind the opposition defenders. What I wanted to ask you though was about the substitutes, about the depth, because everybody looks at Brazil's bench and says, "Wow." A little bit like England, maybe there's more of a wow factor, I have to say, about Chiche's squad. But Gareth Southgate's been credited with keeping a great spirit, with describing them as finishers, not subs, just keeping everybody happy to just be involved. How does it work with your national team? How Jesus and Martinelli and Rodrigo, how are these people staying happy and on board?
Yes, I think there's one aspect that we really need to stress is how much the players like Titi. They all pay very high compliments in him because his man management is brilliant, and it was like that in Corinthians, and it's been like that in the national team during this entire period. He's been the head coach. So, and even when you're talking to the players off the record, they're always paying compliments to Titi because he manages the group really well, and the coaching staff really helps him with that. So if a player's not playing, he knows why he's not playing, and everything is very crystal clear there. There's nothing, and this makes the group even more together. So to manage players that playing such a high level in their clubs, and to keep them happy on the bench, and they're not causing any problems. So this is all down to Chichi, and of course the substitutions on the second half, attacking wise, were quite impressive because there's so much quality. But you also have these tactical variations in midfield that are so important to keep Brazil's balance as well. So he took off Paquetá, that is such an important player for Tite because he can play in three different roles, and he has been playing in three different roles, and he's ready to play all these roles. And he puts Fred, or he can use Fabinho, or he can use Bruno Guimarães, who's been brilliant this season. So the attacking players, of course, they're very impressive. But what really interests me about this Brazilian group is how much variety you can get in different parts of the pitch as well.
Can I ask, is there any area of the squad that concerns you? Is there any potential weakness in this Brazil squad for my England supporting mind, just in case we meet later on in the tournament?
Yes, I think all Brazilians would say the fullbacks, not because they're bad options, but it's just that the options on the other positions are just outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody kind of expects Brazil to produce Cafus and Roberto Carlos every year, but it doesn't work like that. But honestly, I think especially Alexandro played a great match, and I was very pleased to see how the fullbacks worked against Serbia. And Danilo, I think he really matured ever since he arrived in Italy and in Juventus. He's more solid than he was at Man City, for example. So they're not on the same ridiculous level as Cafu and Roberto Carlos, because I think that's very unfair. But I think the group and the way Brazil is defending, and Thiago Silva again, he was so good, and Marquinhos, they know each other so well. So the whole defensive system kind of makes it all work really well. It makes sense, with both fullbacks. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well done for finding a flaw in the Seleção there, Natalie, even if it wasn't a particularly big one. Hello there. If you've enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to this channel? And if you'd like more Totally Football Show content, then just search for us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Not an Athletic subscriber yet? Then just head to theathletic.com/totally to find out our latest entry offer.